Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This is Getting to Know You, an Owners Club exclusive podcast. Right now, hit subscribe right there. Hit a like and a comment for Matt here. Our featured guest today is Matt Burnett. Hi, Matt.
Hey, how's it going?
Doing fantastic. Hot and sunny here in Nashville, Tennessee, a week before Thanksgiving. I can't complain.
Yep. I'm experiencing that exact same weather just a couple hours south of you in Birmingham. We got fake fall for like 5 days. It was cold, and now it's 90 degrees again.
Gotta love it. So tell us about you. You're in Alabama. Love to hear a little bit more. Who is Matt Burnett?
That's a really good question. I think we're all on our own little personal journey of self-discovery. I am born and raised here in Birmingham, Alabama. I love this city. I love the people of the city. Honestly, there's nothing that I hate about the city except for the need that I'm sort of trying to fill with affordable housing here. I grew up GC's son, so I was drugged to jobs. He drugged me to do roof work in July in Alabama. That was fun. He also drugged me underneath houses to do some piping, ventilation work, and sewage, and tiled bathrooms, and everything in between, from the top of the roof to the bottom of the crawl space. I went there as a kid. It really taught me a lot. I've actually remodeled a lot of my own homes. Me and my wife have unintentionally slow flipped the last couple of properties that we lived in. I love it here. I love the market here in Birmingham, and being an investor and starting that journey here has completely changed my life and the lives of several people around me. That's my whole goal. My family is behind me. I have a beautiful wife who is both absolutely a genius and an incredible mother and a beautiful person. I have two children that look just like her and have my last name. So basically, I'm winning at life. That's me in a nutshell. Obviously, could go into more and more details about the investment track of things and how I got started there.
Before we do, I'm just north of you in Nashville. And I
Mm-hmm.
know this is a couple years ago, our local RIA was going down to Alabama talking about the explosion of growth down there. Is that what you've seen as well?
Absolutely. That's one of the things that I hadn't even considered. I have this inborn ability and training that was sort of put on me by my dad. And one day I'm looking around like, why am I not investing in real estate? It took me 2 hours to find my first deal. It wasn't because I got lucky. To be honest, there are so many things that are deals in Birmingham. There are so many opportunities. There are a lot of free and clear homes that are a great place for creative financing. Unfortunately, there are people going through foreclosure or pre-foreclosure. I actually have a story about that. It's been very recent. But the fact of the matter is, and I keep telling people this, Birmingham is like Cleveland without all of the Cleveland because it's a great green field, so to speak, for investment. I know more and more people have been coming here because of how affordable it is and how wonderful the returns can be if you buy the right property at the right price.
Wow, that's amazing. I want to dive more into that. How you did start in real estate. You grew up in it. You kind of accidentally got trained as you were growing up. So, what was that pivot like for you? When did that happen to go into real estate? And what brought you to either sub two or owners club community?
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know exactly what it was. I think there was this algorithmic sort of forcing me into it almost, because for a little while I was doing some day trading and futures trading. I was doing a little bit of stocks here and there, but it wasn't very fulfilling. It was just, I hope the candle goes up or I hope the candle goes down. And that was about it. There's obviously more nuance to it than that. But for me, I am a people person. I'm a passionate person when it comes to something with more depth and meaning. In my W-2, I was in cybersecurity before I got laid off. Private equity bought the company that I was working for and started clipping the priciest people. I was doing really well in the company, but it just sort of naturally went that way. I really wanted to be able to take my destiny into my own hands, so to speak. I didn't like waiting and hoping that something would just happen to me. So, of course, I was looking for other ways to invest. I was looking for other ways to try and practice what I preached, right? And helping out other people around me. And I really wanted to do something impactful. Of course, the algorithm spits out this guy named Pace Morby. And it was kind of just like a rocket ship almost. Since then, I was able to jump into sub two. I actually started in Gator. I was in Gator for about a month. I did my first loan. As soon as I did my first loan, I was like, that is cool, but now what? It was not very fulfilling, I'll say, because although I knew that the project that I was lending on was for affordable housing, it was a construction loan for some Section 8 properties, and I knew that was important because there are people who need those homes. I knew that was awesome. So when I sent the money out, I was like, this is amazing. And then I just sat, but I just kind of like, I guess I'm waiting now to see what happens next. But I'm a doer. I have paint on my shirt. And the reason that I wear paint on my clothes, and if my wife knew that I was wearing the shirt, she would be so pissed. I don't just like sitting around. And I knew that as soon as I sent the lend, because I was like, well, I'm not doing anything with that money. It's not my project. Why is it not my project? Why can't I go and do the things that this type of person is doing? And then I found out pretty quickly that I could. So that's when I started to take on my own projects. January 2nd of this year, 2025, I got and closed my first property. Since then, I have acquired several more, and I'm at 32 doors now, which is a lot, and it's very fast, but that's how big the need is here. That's how huge Birmingham is and can be for so many people, because as other investors are looking for like, oh, well, it's going to cost me $500,000 to buy this house in California. It's like, yeah, of course, you could buy 10 houses in Birmingham for that price and make them beautiful homes and do what I do, which is convert them into Section 8 or co-living properties that then allows people to have affordable living at a beautiful house at a decent price. It's not that complicated. You just have to find the right deal. And I feel like that's something that I'm able to do here specifically in Birmingham. So that's what I want to do. And that's what I want to keep going forward and seeing how we can change the landscape of the city.
That's beautiful. I love that. And right there in your own backyard. I understand why you love it. and
Yeah.
and you're making it more beautiful, like the home that you want to stay in, that live in, or the city, and then you get the blessing of going around and making your city even more beautiful and making opportunities for people. That's super cool, Matt. I love it. Tell me about your decision to join Owners Club.
Let me just kind of spell out the trajectory for you, just in case a couple people missed that. October of last year, 2024, I joined Gator. And then in November was when I decided I really wanted to be the person involved. So November, I joined Sub 2. And I'm going through Sub 2 training. I'm learning how to take action, and I'm doing a lot of imperfect action, as I'm sure you're well aware. I get to Squat Up Summit last year, and there was this feeling of more that I had this longing for. And that I know that if I want to perform at the level that I want to perform at, I have to be able to be in the room where there are high level performers and people who are doing a lot of business and people who know how to do a lot of business. Because again, I can fix things in a house. I've got that experience, but when it comes to the business side and running things efficiently and learning from others who have sort of already been there before, it's priceless. You can't put a value on that. And so that moment kind of came, Pace had that come to Jesus, the come to the altar moment. He was pitching Owners Club, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is the thing. This is the thing. It's not about a dollar amount, because I knew in that moment that if I just believed in myself and I believed in what I was doing, that everything else would follow. And there was no doubt in my mind that I needed to be a part of the group, because I mean, you've been there yourself. You've seen what can happen in those rooms, and you've been around high level performers, and just the wealth of knowledge that I've been able to garner from other people who have gone and done it before has been priceless. There's no number that I could put on that, because I've heard from people who struggled to raise capital, or got in way over their head too quickly, or failed to scale or put proper systems in place. And those are masterminds people pay $50,000 for. When I'm having a conversation over a cup of coffee with somebody, I think the decision to get into Owners Club was just the next obvious step for me, because I didn't want to wait. And I didn't want to be the person that was still sitting around waiting for something to happen to them, because I'm such an action taker. And I just felt that desire and that need that if I want to grow this thing and really blow it up and show people what Birmingham can be like, then I have to join this group. And ironically, through joining Owners Club, I've met a few people. I don't know if you've interviewed or spoken with Jeff Peterson.
Yeah, I know Jeff. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
actually an investor in his co-living in Texas.
that's amazing. I found out he has a house in Birmingham that he got left high and dry. He was trying to find somebody to go and live in the house, rent it out, couldn't find anybody, reaches out to me because he finds out I'm in Birmingham. And then two other ladies, Lynn Dolan and Donna Chartier, I don't know if you've spoken with them or not, but they also have two properties in Birmingham, all in Owners Club, and had no idea really what to do because they were at distance And they were doing everything remotely, and some of the systems that they had put in place were not working just based on property managers not doing what they said they were going to do, and so on and so forth. So I stepped in and was able to build this relationship with them where now we're about to sign on another tenant for one of Lynn and Donna's houses, and Jeff's house is finally going to be occupied. I want to bring people here. My Mount Everest is, and we can get to that in a minute, but I don't have to do every property myself. I don't have to be the owner. My LLC doesn't have to own everything. I just want to pull people here because I want them to see the value that's available here and how wonderful it is. I think that availability to be boots on the ground for people is very valuable. Anybody here or an owners club or whoever wants to join the party down in Birmingham, I would love to have them. And that's sort of an open invite that I have to all people, especially letting them know in owners club as well. There's so much value to be had there. And I hope that they can see that too.
Oh, it sounds like you're the value that's there and you're offering value. That's fantastic. So that leads me actually into my next question. We know your model, and if someone wanted to solve a problem for you or bring you value, what do you need?
This is a fantastic question. I have been able to do all of this with using only 2 private money lenders. The issue with that is that you bottleneck yourself really quickly. Let's say hypothetically, for somebody watching who doesn't understand the process, the way I do things is I will go out, use private money to help acquire a property and fix the property where it needs to be fixed, whether that's the kitchen or the bathroom or something, to inject value into the house, get somebody to rent it, and then I will do a cash out refinance. And the cash out refinance process can sometimes take 2, 3, even 4 weeks, depending on the brokers. So that all adds up to a little bit of time. And when somebody's money is in a project, it's almost frozen in amber. You can't really do anything else with it. That's been a limiting factor for me. I can only do a certain amount of projects based on the private money lenders that I have access to. I have a very specific thing that I do. It's this price. I pay this price for the house. I put this much money into the house. I can tell you based on my zip codes that I buy exactly what I can get out of the house, which really helps them understand the return, and then putting somebody into the house to pay down the new mortgage. Through that process, I've got it very nailed down. However, even with 1 or 2 people that are able to borrow on a cyclical basis, that's only a couple of deals every few months. And that's with us working quickly and turning out 3-month turnarounds versus 6 to 12 months. A very long and winded roundabout way to answer your question. I really just need people who want to lend on these projects, who see value in affordable housing, who see value in providing a house to someone who can't provide it for themselves, that is a beautiful piece of real estate and isn't just 4 walls with a toilet. Because I've seen those and people live in those, and it's really unfortunate. But that's not what I want the narrative to be. Would like to continue to invest in that way. So if there are people out there who are really interested in those types of projects, I would love to talk to them more and have them reach out to me so we can set something up.
Yeah, that's awesome. I will put his link in the show notes. Normally I would end our little interview here, but you gave me a teaser. You threw a hook at the beginning of the video. Now I have to know, what is the pre-foreclosure story that happened recently?
Oh my gosh. This lady, her name is Andrea. She is one of the kindest, gentlest speaking people that I've ever met in my life. I had to get close to her and be a close talker, which is awkward for me. I was just like, can you speak up a little bit? I can barely hear you. Unfortunately, her story is a little tragic. She lost her husband a few years ago, and about a year after she lost him, she found out that she had a tumor behind her left eye. And she had just had a baby as well around that time. And the baby has some medical complications. She has some medical complications. They were just in the hospital this past week. She's been going through so many emotional things and having to keep up with hospital bills and having lost her husband, who was the main breadwinner for their home. So she's been behind on her payments since about March. And I randomly met her through somebody that I had talked to about bird dogging. She's an agent in town and was like, hey, I don't know what to do with this, but I know that you can do a lot with creative finance. Can you help me out? I was like, yeah, of course. Let me look at the deal. We went over there and found out what the arrears were and are currently not even in the process of buying the house. That is still an option in the event that something falls through. However, I want her to be able to keep the house because that's important to me, that she gets to have her asset and doesn't have to sell it. We're trying to get her a loan modification right now, which will then allow her to have different payments and allow her to catch up because now she's on disability and going through all of this change and really difficult stuff with her kid in the hospital. We're trying to keep her in the house, but if I have to, in order to take it over sub 2, I will be able to do that. And she actually has expressed a desire to stay in the house. So I'll take over the payments and catch her up on her arrears, and then she'll rent the property back from me at the exact rate that she was already paying. So I'm not going to net anything, but all of the fees, the way we've structured it is everything will be covered, and I'll get to have the asset, and she has the freedom to leave and move if she wants to do that.
What would the risk to you be if she couldn't pay when she owned it? What would the risk then be to you if she's your tenant and can't pay?
Fortunately, it's you. Every aspect of the deal is unique. The weirdest thing that could happen in any one aspect of the deal is what's happening. She has a VA loan on the house that we would be taking over sub 2, and she still is eligible to move somewhere else, I think up until like 2032 with a VA loan. Because we're taking over her payments, we're catching her up, we're getting her credit restored, and she'll be able to qualify for another loan in a couple of years. If she wasn't able to pay the rent like she says she's going to be able to, then essentially what I would have to do at that point is I would probably pull a little bit of equity out of the property. And this is a parachute situation. I'd probably take some of the equity out of the property just to make sure that we're covered on that end and we won't have any problems with the bills, and help her relocate so I can get a tenant in the house. Because the house is only 5 years old and it's beautiful. I was there last week sitting with her and talking through all these options, and it would rent out very quickly. There's no doubt in my mind. It's in a great school system area. It's got brand new everything. It's more about how I can help her stay in the house if that's at all possible, because that's what matters more to me is the people aspect. Sure, I could go get another house tomorrow, but it's about who's going to be in the house and how we can help provide that for them.
Well, that's amazing, Matt. You clearly have a very beautiful heart and soul, and I'm really happy to get to know you.
I appreciate that. It's really kind.
That's cool. I'm glad I asked. So thank you everyone for tuning in. And if you hear Matt's story and you find a way that you can bring value to him, please reach out. He is currently looking for lenders that have some capital that would like to do a project from the heart. I'll drop his details in the show notes once again. And thank you, Matt. Really, really appreciate you being on today.
Thank you so much for having me.